Hey, rock and rollers, you're watching Classic Rock Record Review with Gabe. So, today we're going to talk about not just one record, but we're going to talk about a whole bunch of rap and hip hop records from a certain era. And you're probably thinking, hey man, I thought this was Classic Rock Record Review. Why are you talking about rap music? There's a very good reason for that. That's because for the past 40 years or so, most rap and hip hop has been more rock and roll than most rock and roll has been. So, I was just taking a bath and I was thinking about something that I've thought about a number of times. So, I'm driving around in a car and, I get kind of a hankering to listen to an old hip hop record. And I'll ask Siri to play it. And I'm like asking for all these records from like a certain kind of year, a certain kind of era, 1992, 1993, and I'm hearing them and I'm thinking, these all kind of have that sound that sounds so foreign to our modern sensibilities, that certain sound that was only around for about a year. And so the records I'm talking about, Very Necessary by Salt-N-Pepa, The Predator by Ice Cube, bunch of these records, including some not very good ones like Code Red by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Terrible record. Does not slap. And here's what I'm hearing. Okay, so there's a drum solo happening right now. Nice job, Mary. She's a jazz drummer. So yeah, you're a jazz drummer, Mary. You're a good jazz drummer. So, so rap and hip hop, where was it at that time? It was the death of the golden age, as they call it. So, mid 80s, Run DMC comes out. New school rap, that's the thing. Run DMC, LL Cool J, all that stuff. Most popular rap there's ever been at the time, and at the time it was called new school rap. We may call some of that stuff old school rap today, but that is not old school rap. Old school rap is Sugar Hill Gang, Grandmaster Flash, Ellendale, all that kind of stuff. So, the death of the new school happened around this time. Okay? So, there are kind of three broad categories of rap, which can be broken down into subgenres, all sorts of stuff, but you've got your hi Peter. Hi Mary. So you got your native tongue, you got your hardcore, you got your pop rap. And pop rap really peaked. And there was a backlash against it, because here's what was going on with pop rap. You got Run DMC, LL Cool J, you got Beastie Boys, Tone Loc, Young MC, DJ Jazzy Jeff, and the Fresh Prince. See what's happening? You got Hammer, Vanilla Ice, MC Scat Cat and the Stray Mob, Bart Simpson, Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Just went downhill. And big backlash against that. But rap and hip hop actually became more popular than it had ever been, yet the things that were topping the charts were starting to not be pop rap anymore. More hardcore-y stuff was starting to get big. And the pop rappers were kind of running scared. They got to do something new. Well, they say that The Chronic is the album that, ended the golden age of hip-hop, ended the new school, ushered in a new wave, G-Funk and such. But if we look at albums that happened like right in the immediate aftermath of The Chronic, or right around that time, a lot of them sounded nothing like The Chronic. Even parts of The Chronic sounded nothing like The Chronic. And what I'm talking about, the sound I'm talking about, is what I call the shouted chorus era of hip-hop. It was about a year long, and it was the thing. So, I'll push you in just a minute, Mary. So, the shouted chorus. So, listening to Salt-N-Pepa, if I want to take a guy home with me tonight, none of your business. There it is. So, Ice Cube, before you chickadee check yourself, before you redirect yourself, there was all kinds of this stuff going on. Cypress Hill, that was their thing. Here is something you can understand, how I can just kill a man inside in the membrane. That was like their whole shtick. But all these songs of the era shouted chorus. Onyx, slam. Du, 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 du. You've got tag team. Boom, there it is. Rex and effects. I mean, you got you know, all I want to do is zoom, 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 man, boom, boom. I mean, every one of these songs has a shouted chorus. And bands were around for a while. Salt and Peppa, Ice Cube, they were doing it. LL Cool J, bucking them down, bucking them down. I mean, that wasn't LL Cool J's sound. Naughty by Nature, hip hop hooray, ho. Even they were kind of hinting at that before the era started, you know, with OPP. Hammer had been doing kind of a different style of shouted choruses before the shouted chorus era. You know, too legit to quit, or it was more like a military thing or a fraternity chant or something. But what I'm talking about, though, is the various Cypress Hills and whatnot. And that was the sound of hip-hop for about a year. And there were other things that were going on that were kind of becoming a part of it. There was the jazz rap thing. And some of that kind of combined with the shouted choruses. I mean, if you listen to The Predator or, you know, a number of records that I think embody this sound, you hear some kind of jazzy stuff, some kind of blunt, funky drums that are like samples. They're not drum machine, they're usually samples, or maybe it's a drum machine that is based on realistic sounding kind of jazzy, funky samples. That's a drum that's like not tuned perfectly. You got your shouted chorus, and I also feel that at the time, if you were a pop rapper, you're in kind of a rough spot because the industry had turned against you, and you're kind of damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because if you just soldier on, make another pop rap album, the industry has just moved on from what you're doing. But if you try and go hardcore or something, no one's going to take you seriously. I mean, if you listen to The Funky Headhunter by Hammer, it's actually a surprisingly good album, but you can see why it didn't sell well. I mean, Hammer was not convincing in that role. Vanilla Ice with Mind Blowin'. I mean, it's actually a better record than you'd expect. But one thing, though, that I think some of the pop rappers thought is, well, I can keep kind of making this pop rap, but what I can do to kind of give myself an edge is I can do my shouted choruses. So you got DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, that miserable Code Red album, the hit, if you could call it that. Boom, boom, shake, shake, shake the room. I mean, it's a horrible song, horrible record. But I don't know where I was going with that. Some of this music is, in fact, good. But for the most part, shouted choruses are not really my scene, including in rock music. I mean, you know, pour some sugar on me, where you got a bunch of people just singing the same thing in unison, and they sound like, you know, fraternity or something. I mean, I think that's kind of whack. But yeah, that was the thing in rap for a year. And we've forgotten about all this really popular stuff in that area. No, I restarted it. It was like on the indie thing, so I hit pause and it restarted. I didn't restart it. I pressed the start of the play button. Yeah, it was doing the indie thing. Yeah. So, there you have it, shouted chorus rap. By the way, this stuff like disappeared as quickly as it came up. So, like the next year, by late 93, 94 or something, no one was making music that sounded like this. So like Ice Cube's next record, Lethal Injection, was a lot more on the G-Funk tip. So, you know, nobody chickadee checked themselves anymore. Yeah, there you have it. If someone made a song like this today with like a rap song with a shouted chorus, can you imagine that? No one's done that since 1993. Okay. Rock and roll.